I gave her. You see?
Way too. Yo, what's going on, my brothers and sisters? Hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. This piqued my interest. When I saw this, I was like, I think I want to record a video about this. and this might be a few days old, but as soon as I seen this, I was like, huh. You guys might have heard about this already, but it says Square Enix is going to be aggressively going multi-platform after a string of PS5 exclusive. Now this, I guess, recently came out after the sales of Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth didn't do what they wanted. I guess it underperformed for Square Enix. They thought it was going to do better. I think Final Fantasy 16 might have sold like 3 million copies and Rebirth sold like 2 million. So it says right here, Square Enix has released a new business plan titled Square Enix Reboots and Awakens that will see the publisher aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy for its biggest games across Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. While Square Enix has long been active across a wide range of platforms, it has a tradition of signing exclusive deals for its biggest releases with Sony. This year's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and last year's Final Fantasy 16 last year? I thought that junk wasn't this year. Oh no, it was. Like, God, bro, time. Time be going by quick, bro. Are currently exclusive to PlayStation 5, while games like Forspoken and the original Final Fantasy VII Remake have been released across PlayStation and PC. Final Fantasy 14 has just only seen an Xbox release this past March, over a decade after it debuted on PC and PlayStation. So yeah, with these recent Final Fantasy games, the one that has seen the most success recently was the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 that released in 2020. That was the one that had the most hype. That was the one that did the best. That was the one that, when it came out in 2020, I still remember when they showed the first trailer for that junk at like E3 2015 or 16. Suckers lost they freaking mind. I still hear BG screams in my head. Oh my God! Oh my God! Like, that was the game that like kickstarted all of this, and because of that was the one that's seen the most success out of these recent games that they have dropped. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 did 7 million copies, with 3.5 million of those copies being sold in just 3 days. That only dropped on PS4 at the time. I feel like it came on PC like what, a year and a half or two years later. And then Intergrade came out. Those games have yet to still drop on Xbox. Square Enix said its goal was to build an environment where more customers can enjoy our titles, especially regarding major franchises and AAA titles, including catalog titles. The move comes after reports suggested that both Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth underperformed financially. Now, here's my thing. They wouldn't even be doing this if it one, I don't care what these suckers are saying, oh, we just want to give more opportunity for players to, no, stop it. you didn't care about that jump before. It's not until now that you ain't getting the amount of sales of like what you expected that of these games are going to get, to where now you're like, you know what? Maybe we should drop just maybe we should drop this on Xbox. If you was getting whatever you wanted, this wouldn't even be a thing. And y'all let me know if I'm tripping on this. I have always felt like Final Fantasy, though it is one of the most popular, long-running, successfully game-running franchises out there, Final Fantasy has never moved mountains to where when a new game comes out, like, people go out and buy it in droves. Final Fantasy, what it is it has a dedicated fan base behind it. There are some people that have been playing this game from like back in the 90s and are still playing it today. But Final Fantasy has never sold like games like God of War, or it's never sold like games like, you know, the Uncharted games or From Software games or Spider-Man. Like, I think the best-selling Final Fantasy was the original FF7, and that sold, I think, like 13 million. People have never went out and bought a console just for Final Fantasy ever. well, I mean, if you want to go back to like the PS1 days, I mean, maybe back then with FF7, but in most of its existence, especially in modern times, people are not going out and like, oh, I gotta play this. Like, I still have people ask me today, and I'm not even a Final Fantasy like fan like that. Like, oh, will I understand this a story if I ain't played the previous 25 titles? Like, some people don't even know that most of these games have brand new stories and are not attached. So, one, Final Fantasy has never like moved mountains like that and sold like big numbers. Two, and I had said this in my Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth review, I don't think Square Enix has taken into account that them releasing, you know, this classic game of FF7 in 3 parts, and you have to wait what 4 to 5 years for each part to come out. The first part came out in 2020. We just got Rebirth this year. Most likely we're not going to get the final part until 2027 or 8 maybe. Like, I don't think they have taken into account how much that actually hurt with the interest of this game. Again, Part 1 sold 7 million, and that was the most successful one. Rebirth has sold a little over 2 million, and that's now why they're saying that they're kind of not pleased with the sales. What's Part 3 going to do? Like, I do feel like there are a lot of people that don't like the fact that one of their favorite games and one of the biggest games of all time has been milked into 3 parts, and I feel like you're starting to see the results of that right now. People are not going out in droves. For some people, Rebirth was not even on their radar for this year. Like, they wasn't even thinking about buying it. The real hype was for 2020's Part 1. I don't feel like Rebirth had the same hype, and I definitely don't feel like Part 3 is going to have the same hype. I just recently looked up how much PS5s have been sold. As of March 31st, 2024, it says 59.2 million units. Let's say 60 plus million PS5s are out there. Yeah, to only have 2 million of those, you know, of those 60 plus million PS5s out there, and only 2 million people go out and get Rebirth. I mean, yeah, if you want to look at it like that, then yeah, it did underperform, I guess. It just kind of confuses me, like, why now all of a sudden they're like shocked by like the results that they're getting, and now they're trying to take this like what did you think was going to happen, Square? What did y'all think was going to happen? You go exclusive with PlayStation back during the time to where Final Fantasy 7 had the most hype with Part 1 when it was first revealed. That one, yeah, it did a well, but then you don't drop the games on PC until what, 2+ years later. These games have never touched Xbox. You can say whatever you want about Xbox. Xbox has a big install base on it. You then have the game that is like the biggest thing that they have going for it right now, which is the FF7 remake. You release this junk in parts over the span of 10+ years. Then like people have to wait for this junk. What did you think was going to happen? Like, did they think that every installment of this remake was just going to do like 15 million easy? Again, me thinking that Final Fantasy has never really moved mountains like that, and people have never went out specifically to get something just to play Final Fantasy, especially in today's times where you got so many other options with like RPG games and and open world games out there, and all like we have more access to games today than ever before. People are not gonna, if they weren't doing that before, you think they're gonna do it? You think they're gonna do it now for Final Fantasy 7? And even though I like these games, like again, I thought Rebirth had a lot of flaws about it, but I still enjoy it. But it is a flawed game. But most likely, again, when Part 3 comes out, that's not going to move mountains neither. I'm just confused by the confusement of Square Enix. Like I just don't know what they thought was going to happen. It goes on to say, of course, Square Enix is not the only company wondering if platform exclusivity can work at all at scale. Xbox has begun a controversial shift towards publishing its games on rival console platforms. See, I disagree with that. In my opinion, it's more about the interest of said franchise. Like it matters to an extent, but at the same time, that's not the only thing. You take something like God of War Ragnarok. Let me look that up. Okay, God of War Ragnarok. As of November 2023, the total units sales of God of War Ragnarok sit at 15 million units. Let me look up Last of Us 2. Last of Us Part 2 sold 10 million copies in total, and that's despite everybody claiming that they hate the game. Okay, let's look up Ghost of Tsushima, selling more than 9.73 million copies by July of 2022, and was one of Sony's fastest selling original games. So I don't think I part of me feels like when these companies complain about, well, we don't know if this whole console exclusivity thing can still work in today's times, is more like kind of a cop out for them not just saying like, yo, fan interest is just not what you think it is for for your specific. Again, this is no shade to Final Fantasy. It is one of the most known, successful, long-running gaming franchises out there. But Final Fantasy, maybe outside of the original 7, it's never like sold this crazy amount of copies to where people like go out and be like, oh my god, they got a new one. Like a lot of people have never played this series. A lot of people don't even know that most of these games aren't even attached to each other, and most have a completely new storyline. You can still have games that are just on PlayStation or just on Xbox or just on Nintendo do well. I hate when like something underperforms all of a sudden. That's the issue. That's not that, like, I mean, again, it does play a part, but it's not like, black and white and just like this is what it is. Like, it doesn't tell the whole story. I'm just kind of confused by like what expectations did they have. Like, people have been talking about Final Fantasy, I feel like, for the past 4 or 5 years now, because of really just this FF7 remake that they're doing, and then you add in the success of FF16. Like, it's not like Final Fantasy is doing bad. I feel like it's doing what it always has done, but maybe a little better. But I guess they had higher hopes for it. But I'm just confused why. I'm really just confused why. But again, if you do take into account how many PS5s have been sold, and then compare that ratio to how much people are actually going out and buying FF, I mean, if you want to look at it like that, then yeah, it's like, whoa, we got this much players. What do y'all feel about Square Enix's disappointment with how these FF games have been selling? Do you feel like there's something else at play here? Do you feel like what I said, that the fan interest for the FF games are just not what they think it was? Do you feel like, again, them releasing these Final Fantasy 7 games in parts has hurt? And again, you would do see like a lot of people say that these exclusive deals for like these games hurt the industry more than it helps. Do you feel like that as well, or do you feel like, again, something else is at play here? Y'all leave y'all thoughts and concerns down in the comments section below. Do y'all feel like part 3 is going to be a multi-platform title and they're going to eventually drop part 1 and Rebirth on a Xbox soon? Y'all let me know in the comments section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until my next video, my brothers and sisters, I'll catch y'all boys in my next one. All right.